Hi guys. It's another 7 o'clock. Another 7 o'clock. It's another evening sound mind. Hey, Kevin Sounds, how you doing, bro? It's been a while, man. Dai, what's up? Mr. Lade, what up? All right, so I'm just waiting for people to come in. I think people are joining in, and we're just going to heat it up straight and ready to go. Can everyone hear me? Good. Can you hear me? Good. Wave if you can. Yep. What happened to my hair? You asked that yesterday. My hair, there's nothing I can do about my hair now. There's no baba, there's nothing. We're in lockdown. I can't do anything to my hair, so, it's what it is. We'll deal, we'll move, We deal, we'll move. As long as I'm not looking like Methuselah by the time we finish. So, I did. You can post the baba to me. Well, I'll be waiting. Henry Teller, what's up? How you doing, bro? My hairline is sliding. Well, it comes with age. And it runs in the family. Well, part of the family. I did run what's it called? A small poll online on Instagram. We'll call it online. I think most people chose to for us to talk about technical riders. So I'm going to be talking about technical riders. If I'm speaking too much jargons, let me know. Yeah, Benga, I want to see me, I don't understand. It's my airline, we can't all live forever, can we? Age catches up on us at some point in time, So we're going to talk about technical riders. So is there anyone? I'm guessing there's some people who are just my friends who just want to hype me up on this, and there are people who really want to know about technical riders. I haven't got some DMs for some people. So technical riders is very straightforward. It's what I call the soundman's Bible, right? It's the soundman's Bible in the sense that that's your go-to. It's what you send to a venue or to a promoter for your artist or for your band. you can't be everywhere at every time. So you send it in anticipation to for them to expect you when you're coming or whatever what's going to happen. So when preparing a show or going on tour, one of the things you must have locked down. It's a technical rider. It could be a 1-page, 2-page document. It's where the sound, the house team. So either be the festival, either be it what's it called? Just an in-house venue or anywhere. So you sent it in anticipation that they're prepared for you to know what your expectations are, what your needs are. So things, just in case there are things that you need and the venue doesn't have, it gives the venue opportunity to be able to source them. So I'll give a typical example. You're traveling with a 4-man band and your drummer uses a specific types of drums. Let's say he uses Tama drums. He uses Tama drums and it's very specific. It's very specific with its cymbals. But you're traveling from Nigeria to Kenya. You're not going to pack a whole set of drums and move everything to Kenya. So what would most likely happen is you send a technical rider that stipulates the type of drums, the size, how many cymbals, and stuff that the drummer wants. So the receiving venue or the promoter or whoever is arranging knows exactly what you want. So I've done like 6 points. So I'm just going to take the focus away from me, and you can focus on my screen. If you can see that, can everyone see clearly? If you're watching, just send me a thumbs up that you can see the screen. I haven't gotten one thumbs up yet. Any thumbs up? Can you see the screen? Okay, cool. So a technical rider is a soundman's Bible. Yeah, basic soundman's Bible. It's like what we follow. Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, what we follow. Now, number one is your frontline description. So I'm going to show you a few riders as I'm going by. Let me pick one of these riders here. So now if you watch this, it says sound general. Let me just move that a bit to the side. Maybe we should reduce it a bit, then can bring everything in. Yeah. Okay, so you see what you call say the sound general, what you expect, the minimum specification you expect from the venue on your front line. Right. So you have your sound general. Says following specifications are detailed but fairly simple, blah blah blah, or your English. Now you say front of house console. For this particular rider, you can see it says front of house console should be of a high quality, large format digital console. Our preference will be that the mixer is MADI enabled as you'll be traveling. This is a bit more complex and stuff, but it just says what you expect from the mixer that they're going to provide for you. In some instances, you can be very specific. I would say superstars or some specific artists are very particular about the mixer that's delivered to them. So they use the same mixer wherever they go in the world. You know, it has to be that specific. If the venue doesn't have it, depending on the contract you have with your promoter, they might be forced to source that mixer. If you're traveling with a monitor engineer or you need a monitor system, you state it in there. So that's your front line, right? Second thing would be your band composition. Let me put that in a little bit. Yep. Second thing will be your band composition, and your band composition is how many people are in the band, what instrument each person plays, are they singing, are they whatever it is. That needs to be stipulated. You don't want to turn up to a venue and they're telling you they have only 4 mics and you've got 8 singers. So that's definitely going to give you a problem. So it's always best to have that sorted out. I'll show you on this technical rider here. You have a technical rider, you have the artist, you have the DJ, what the requirements are, 3 mics, the type of mics, the stand, the IEMs. I don't know if you can see those things as I'm scrolling up. Yep. So if you've got a DJ, you've got what type of DJ you want. CDJ you want, CJ decks you want, laptop stand, kind of headphones and stuff. You've got then the first keyboardist. You've got the list of his keys, sustain pedals. It's funny. You might see things like sustain pedals, and you'll be wondering, why do I need to put sustain pedals there? Some people can play without sustain pedals. So if you don't request for it, they might not supply it. It's not, that's just the way it is. Second keys, bass, everything listed. Now, if you look at the drums on here, right, it's kind of detailed, 10-inch tom, 12-inch tom, 14-inch tom, 16-inch tom, 2 14-inch snares, 22 kick drums, 7 cymbal stands, boom. Some drummers or some instrumentalists, they're signed to specific companies. They would not play another brand. They will not play another brand. So that has to be stated in your rider. Don't forget to state that. We've done band composition, so which is also the backline list, what I'm going through now. That's number 3. We have the backline list, what I'm going through. Right? Can we all see that? So that's the backline list I just went through. Number 4 will be your input list and your stage plots. Your input list and your stage plots. This is very, very important. A lot of people underestimate the power of an input list. If your input list is sorted, if it's specific, you find out that it makes things easier for you when you get to the venue. So if you look at this, you've got this input list. So we've listed all the backlines, and now you have the input list. Even with input list, in some places you say the source switches. Somewhere like here, you have the mics, the exact mics you want on each instrument. Over here, you find these ones don't need mics, they need DIs. Yep, you just put it there. You put it, that's what you want. You want a DI instead of a mic. Monitor mixes, how many outputs you expect from the mixer to be able to deliver. Now, it says input list and stage plots. Now, if you go to the next thing here, you see a stage plot here. And that's a simple stage plot. You get websites, you get softwares that can help you build this easily. I think there's technicalrider.com or StagePlot Pro is a software. Is a Mac. StagePlot Pro is a Mac software. You can use that to build your stage plots. Right there. So if you're watching, I'm expecting questions on wherever you're seeing at the moment. Okay. I expect questions. Now, one thing I want you to also note is number 5, or your contact information. Always leave your contact information for the venue, in just in case they want to give you replacements, they want to contact you to clarify things. Always make sure that your contact information. Naturally, I do put my contact information first. Yeah, so your contact information comes first before anything, so it's easy to, it doesn't get lost in the mix. That's the way I do things. The next thing is always update your technical writer. Always update your technical writer, because you find out that things change, wants change, needs change. I'll give you a typical example. If you have a 7-piece band, but you're going for a specific tour, and on that tour you're only traveling with 4-piece, you don't want to send a rider that has a 7-piece band. You want to send a rider for a 4-piece band, so you need to update it. And also, as you experience things on the way, let's say you're going on a tour and you experience some issues, maybe in your first or second show, it might be advisable to update your rider for the next shows and send an update to the venues. But that way, whatever issues you encountered at the first 2 shows, you don't encounter it. Now, this rider has my artist. I have 3 different stage plots and input lists on this rider. Now, when I'm sending this out, I would usually indicate which one is going to be used. So, because the artist sometimes have a bigger band, so this one is for the 4-piece band and a DJ. And if you scroll down, you'll find that this one has more instrumentalist, which is keys, second keys, bass, there's guitar, there's drums, and then when you look at the input list, you see things like extra here, talking drum, trumpet, and stuff. So if you look at the input list on this, it's about 42 channels. If you scroll down to this one, it's about 30 channels. Now, so obviously you don't want the venue to go and prepare 42 channels for you while you're just going to use 30. Not only, obviously, as an in-house guy, you get upset that why did I prepare all that much? But what happens is, for them to clear out the things they've already prepared for you, might even waste your time. So you just want to try and stick to and make sure that you're sending an updated information to the venue. Now, if you scroll further, so you see that this stage plot, it has more acts in it, more performers in it. You have more outputs. This has 16 auxiliary needs. The original one there had just 12. Right. So if we scroll further, this is a third one, which is just a DJ set, and that has just like 6 inputs. It just has 6 inputs. I should save the live so you can watch later. Okay, Henry, pay me. I'll make sure I save it. Nothing comes for free in this world. Well, yes, definitely you'll be saved. You can come back and watch later. So that's that. Now, next thing will be, this is very important for those of us who are growing with artists. It's necessary to send a link to your music. Now, if you see what I've written there, not every artist is a superstar. Now, if you're going on tour and maybe your band is the opening act or maybe the first act or so, and you don't have a budget for a sound engineer to travel with you, sometimes it's good to have a link to your songs. in your rider. What that does is it tells the in-house sound engineer, who is most likely going to mix your sound on the day, that I want you to go and listen to my song or listen to my artist's song, so you understand how to replicate whatever I will do. No worries, I'll save. It will be saved. So that they can replicate whatever you want as an artist. So it's very, very important to make sure that you add the link of your song to your technical writer. Don't assume that the sound engineer, especially if it's an in-house sound engineer, is going to automatically go and listen to your music. But by you putting the link to your song where they can find your song and stuff, because usually most technical writers are sent by email, so it's just a matter of putting a link. They can copy and paste it into a web browser and they can listen to your music. That kind of forces the hand of the sound engineer to go ahead and make sure he listens to your song, right? Last thing before I bring in my first guest of the day is there's a big difference between a technical rider and a technical spec and an hospitality rider. So don't mix it up. Your technical spec is usually supplied by the venue. So the venue will supply you, will send you a technical spec, meaning this is what we have. So they will tell you this is what they have in-house. And sometimes it's always necessary to get the technical spec before you send your technical writer. Get the technical spec before you send your technical writer. It's sometimes very important, because when you do that, you can help yourself by adapting your technical writer to the technical spec the vendor sends to you. So you already know what they don't have, what is missing, and then you can say, okay, this is missing from your technical spec. Is it possible for you to source it? Because it's in our rider. Okay, so that's it. It's critically very different. So tech spec is supplied by the venue. A technical rider is supplied by you, either the production manager, the sound engineer, or the artist. But it comes from the artist side of things. An hospitality rider is usually. Let me see if I have any hospitality rider somewhere. I don't know if there's one here. Okay, so if you look at something like this, let me take this one off. So this has an additional hospitality in it, which is what you want to drink, if you want hot water, if you want this, if you want that. Usually, your hospitality rider is prepared by your production manager or your tour manager. So when you have your hospitality rider in your technical rider, then the technical rider becomes a full rider. So when your tech rider and your hospitality rider, it becomes a full rider. Any questions? Because I think I've run through everything. Because everybody wanted me to do technical spec, so most people wanted to take a technical rider. So has anyone got questions? Any questions? Or am I okay to bring in my first guest? So I guess there's no questions. Everybody on what's my technical routine when I get to a venue, when I have an event? Shoot is the first thing I do. Obviously, you can't hear me. Who said they can't hear me? Duro, you can't hear me? Are you sure? It must be your own system, not mine. Can everyone hear me? Because someone just said they can't hear me. Oh, okay. Thanks. So what's my technical routine when I get to the venue? Right. Sincerely speaking, my first routine is not technical. So maybe if I'm going to now talk about my technical, fine, but my first routine is not technical. Especially if I've got in-house sound engineers, my first routine is to familiarize myself with them because they will make my show happen. I treat them like what you would call system techs. We'll talk about system techs in one of our sessions. I've got system tech coming in to speak to us, so we'll definitely talk about system techs in one of our sessions. So what I do is I try and break the ice with the in-house guys, because most times, 99% of the time, I already know what the venue has anyway, because we would have had that communication. I already know, okay, am I going to have issues at this venue? Most of the time, you already know before you get to the venue. So the first things I do when I get to the venue is not technical. It's more of making it easy for me to be able to work with the in-house engineers. Right. Okay. Let me gather some breath. Just joking. I just play one music and then I think we'll bring on our first guest. He calls himself Femi the Sound Man. I call him Femi Bello. But this guy is good. He's good at what he does. He's multi-talented. He's a musician. He's everything that you can think of. I'm just going to bring him on soon. But before that, let me just serenade you so you can think of something else than my voice. All right.
They make me happy. I'm falling for you long time, yeah.
Actually, I was gonna say something before we bring Femi on. Based on what happened on Monday. So what we're going to be looking at is it's going to be 30 minutes. So obviously that means you have to come back at 8 o'clock. So we're going to finish at 8:30. Right. So we'll get Femi in 30 minutes. You know, I don't want to rush my guests off. They've taken out their time. They've prepared for this. I just don't want to give them 10, 15 minutes and then I have to chase them off. So we'll do 30 minutes with the guest, come back at 8. Then I bring Mystro in at 8 o'clock till 8:30. If you're happy with that, say yeah.
I made my choice, baby. I'll live for you, yeah. Baby, my luck back, will. My loss are far away. Then no get joy. I will be loving you. I see nothing bigger than you. Baby.
Hi, Femi.
Hey, how you doing, bro? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
So it looks as if I'm not the only one that has hair problem, right?
Everyone. I think this is probably the most. A lot of people would have seen my hair for a long time.
Okay, so I feel better now.
Yeah.
Because I remember the other two guys on Monday. Everybody had
Rap.
either a hood
Afro.
or a
I'm
or
I'm
something on
I'm
their
proud
hair.
of my hair. I'm gonna just wear it proudly. I'm proud.
How are you though?
I'm well, thank you. I'm okay.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good. Trying to keep sane in this environment. Um, yeah. I see. You've got some people cheering you up. Yeah, Femi. Good to have you on. Good to have you on.
It's
Um,
good to be here.
Obviously, so my first question to everybody that comes on is you just have to tell us about yourself. I might have put up a bio on your on Instagram, but come on,
Mm.
tell us about yourself. Tell us,
Hey
you know.
everyone, I'm Femi the sound man, or Femi Bello. Fem. I am a audio engineer and musician. Yeah, I'm about I'm young. I'm young in the game. I won't say how old I am, but I'm probably one of the youngest engineers that you'll meet.
That age thing is going to play a part in this conversation. I hope you know that, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
we
know.
might not talk about your age, but obviously it's going to play a part in the conversation. So we've already agreed to that already before we came in. So obviously, it's a process that's necessary for everybody to know. Um, Obviously, this also it's a way of us giving back to the society in this times, in these trying times. Some people will come out of this and decide, you know what, I want to pursue a passion in sound or maybe in teching or whatever it is, become an MD or become an artist. So if we can help somehow, that's fine. I'll be happy about it. So tell us how you ended up becoming a sound engineer. Because I remember
Wow.
meeting you some years ago. I
Yeah, we
think
met.
you must have been
We met.
hiring a was it keyboard or something. I can't just remember. I knew it was Hackney.
Hackney, was it? I met you at a wedding. You were doing a wedding,
Okay.
and I was playing keyboards.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, so
Um,
tell us how you became a sound engineer.
a sound engineer. You know what? So my journey starts probably at the age of 10. From church. I grew up in church. Um, just like a lot of other people will say that come on this. Um, and I wasn't that I wanted to become a sound engineer. In fact, I grew up playing drums and piano, and I just knew how to switch on the desk. I also knew how to turn up the volume. Someone wanted a little bit more in the monitors, I could do that. And then eventually I just worked out how it all worked. The desk, the speakers, the amps. It was an analog desk. We had an analog console, the graphics equalizers, and just how things worked. The multi-core that we had a long 32, I think it was 32 channels. Yeah, 32 channel
Okay.
snake that ran from the front of the church to the back of the church. And yeah, I just figured it all out. But I wasn't really trying to be a sound engineer. Fast forward to going to uni. I went to uni and I studied music performance, and then I did a master's in audio production. I'll get to that.
Mhm.
Um, but while studying music, I met he was a technician at the uni, and he said to me, um, like, whilst you're here, you don't want to just be doing one thing, and by the end of it all, you just got one thing under your belt. Kind of branch out, learn software, um, read
Mm.
books. What are you passionate about other than just playing the drums or playing piano, a few chords on the piano? What else? Because when you come out of here, you don't want to be shortchanged, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
You wanna have something else, because yeah, he's obviously been in the industry and he's obviously seen how it goes, and he can do multiple things. He was a drummer, he was a technician, he was an engineer. Um, he knew how to use all sorts of software, Pro Tools, Ableton, Logic, like. And I thought, you know what? Let me just take time out and actually study like how to use these other things and read about things and learn how things work. Yeah. And then fast forward to after university, um, I got a phone call to come into a rehearsal from a friend of mine called Matthew Brown.
Matty Brown.
Yeah, he's a drummer, he's a musical director. This is the funny story. He called me into the rehearsal. It was a rehearsal for, I believe it was Dave or AJ Tracy, one of the two of them. It was for a BBC Live Lounge. He called me to a rehearsal. It was in Ritz. It was Putney. They had the Digico SD9. I'd seen Digicos. I'd never used one.
Used one.
So he called me up to come into rehearsal. I'd never used the desk before in my life. They all went to breakfast. They all went to go have breakfast. And I had about an hour to figure out everything and make the room sound right. And I remember I called a good friend of mine called Nakoma. I think you're going to have him on the show.
Yeah. All right,
Cause,
everybody's talking about Nikoma. Rap
yeah,
mentioned Nikoma too.
well, Nakoma is kind of one of the reasons why I do this. So following the conversation I had with the technician at my university, I had met Nakoma and I asked him for some work experience. And I said to him that this is how much I know, but I'm willing to learn and I'm ready to kind of I'm hands on, I'm ready to go. And then he took me under his wing. The first gig we did was in Hackney and it was for an artist called Petite Miller. I was his tech. So my job was to do up all the cables and follow the patch list. And that was it. And then he brought me onto more gigs. We did Taj Tibet in 2014 at House of Praise in Camberwell. I was
Yep.
still a tech. I was still doing all the cables. How big the channel list was. My job was to patch and then at the end of the night, pack up all the cables and put them in the trunk. And I remember that was one of the longest days. It was a weekend because the show was a Friday and a Saturday. And so we set up on Thursday night. Show was Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning we packed out. And I remember feeling so exhausted and thinking, oh my days, is this what this job is about? But
Welcome to the club.
I gained so much experience and it was really amazing to just see how everything works from a basic church setup to kind of a live professional setup, from bringing in a console to monitors. We didn't need to bring in PA. There's PA in that building already. A line system, all these different types of microphones, the different kind of consoles. I remember there was a guy called Jake Rudd. He mixes monitors. He's from Hillsong. I met him and he was mixing monitors and he was just showing me things. And I also got to shadow Nicole out front of the house. And yeah, it just kind of went from there. Got called into the rehearsal a couple of years later, did the rehearsal, and then from then I was just getting called into rehearsals. Never the shows though, just the rehearsals. And then one day I got called into a rehearsal with the House Gospel Choir, and I think this was in 2018. And the next day was a festival. And that's how the transition happened.
Okay, wow. 2018. So in 2 years, you've achieved what it's taken some of us like 15, 20 years to. Okay. But so the next question will be, in those 2 years, I'm guessing you've done we've met at some events, some great events and stuff and all that. How do you approach each event? Do you have the same approach to everyone, or
how I approach an event? So it'd be that I'm working with an artist and I'm coming in as he or she's engineer or the group's engineer. Before I even get to the venue, I need to know what I'm working with in the venue. I need to know what's in the venue. I need to know where the venue is, the gear. Sorry, I need to know the gear. and then I adjust my plans. So it might be I have a technical rider. So I was watching earlier, you were talking about your technical rider. It might be
Hmm.
that I adjust my technical rider to what the venue has, or I contact the venue and ask or speak to my tour manager or production manager and explain to them this is what's in the venue, but we need this for our show to work. So um yeah, and so that's what I'll do. So I'll speak to the people I need to speak to before
So
anything
it's
even
more it's
happens.
it's it's more of obviously fulfilling what we've spoken about earlier with everybody when it comes to your technical rider,
Hmm.
making sure everything is perfect. So now what how do I'm going to frame this question is, what's your experience with working with in-house sound engineers, so venue sound engineers? I know some people have a few horror stories, and I'm guessing some other people would have good stories. So what would be your experience, and what would you say your advice would be to anyone who's trying to get into what you're doing and wants to, be able to work in those venues?
Okay, I mean, I'll start with the in-house engineers. The first thing you need to remember with in-house engineers is that's their house. I'm not gonna come to your house and start telling you what to do straight away. I
Mm.
will end up, you know, telling you what to or advising you what to do for my show to go well. But you need to acknowledge that they're the man of the house. And
Hmm.
once you've done that, that's what builds the bridge of respect. Now you can speak to me. Now we can have a conversation. Um, and I haven't really had a. Oh, actually, no, sorry. I have had some fallouts with some in-house engineers, but the first thing I do is I build that trust. It's all about trust. I'm not
Mm.
coming to destroy your PA system. I'm not coming to just damage your console. I know what I'm doing because most of them will look at you and ask you as well. Do you know what you're doing? They might
Mm.
say in a patronizing manner. So they might say, "Do you know what you're doing?" Especially to someone like me. I don't know. I feel like I look young, so
They tend to look
com-
at
you know,
you. Who's this boy who's coming to mix here? Okay.
well, compared to the likes of yourself and Raf and Nakoma and Aaron that are older and looking more mature than me, I'm still baby boy. So so I might get the eyes and it might be like, mm,
Doesn't know what he's doing.
mm, you know, even after all the experience and after doing all the big venues and after everything, I might come to a small venue and I might have technician come and be like, "Are you sure? Do you know what you're doing?" But it might just be because I started off slow because I'm tired. I've just come off the tour bus and
Hmm.
my brain is not there yet. So it might be like, "Are you okay? Do you know what you're doing?" But you don't even need to be rude about it. You don't need to be like, "I know what I'm doing. I'm fine." Just politely say, "Yeah, I do know what you're doing." Like, over time, they'll see that okay, he knows what he's doing.
Hmm. So from my own experience, if I was to add to what you just said, is I've been. It's always very important to respect the person that the owner of the house.
Mm,
Um, I said to my children, I tell them, I say, if a man has built a castle, he's allowed to be called king.
mm,
So in this house, I'm called king, in the sense that when you get to a venue and you meet someone there, they can mess up your show. Trust me. One press of a button, you will sweat from the beginning of the show till the end, and you think you're the problem. But they just feel this guy's got attitude. We're gonna show him today that he's in our house. So that mentality is always there to some extent. It's something I've experienced, along the line. So, quick question:
mm.
monitors or FOH?
Um, Monitors.
Okay.
I know it's really weird. I know a lot of engineers prefer doing front of house, and it's like I mix in front of house. I am. This is my gig. This is my show. Everyone can
Mm.
hear what I'm mixing. I think it's the musician in me. Personally, I feel like being a musician, a lot of the times, well, we've had bad experience. I've had bad experiences with monitor engineers. You know, I can't hear myself. This is just not going right, and then the monitor engineer, kind of just not being comforting or not being helpful to the situation. You know, because if I can provide assistance and care and comfort to my artist, I know that they're going to give an outstanding performance. They're not going to be worrying about, oh, I can't hear this or this has gone wrong. You know, they trust me, and yeah, and also it's almost like I called the show from monitors. I'm calling the show. I'm calling to front of house. This is what's happening next. There's been a change in the set list. We're actually doing song 10 now, not song 7. So the 2 guest mics are coming on in the next song. Yeah, that's
Okay,
I
so
just
this
prefer
is now going to
monitors.
be, it's going to be like a branch. You're going to be branching off now that you've chosen monitors. So we're going to move this way, and the questions are going to be. So now
No.
the thing for me is, a lot of people don't know I'm a musician myself. You know, I play about 7
Mhm.
instruments. But I
Mm.
hate doing monitors.
Mm.
I hate doing monitors. Reason being is it's the same musician in me that annoys me when I hear musicians asking for this, for that, for this, for that. And I'm thinking, you don't need it. Why are you asking me? And so I have that kind of, so I try and as much as possible, not wait for your turn, mate. Nah, Hawkins. It's your turn next week, so wait for your turn. So that the musician in me is the one that, I can't deal with these guys. No, I can't deal with divas. So the issue for me here now is temperament is very important to become a monitor engineer.
Mhm.
It's one of the key things in becoming a monitor engineer because you have to be patient. So, what? How do you deal with bands or with musicians that are? Let's take two examples: divas, or there's no children here, is there? But dickheads. So,
I'm laughing at the fact that you said not what you said, but I'm laughing that you said that there's no children there. But you know what? The job starts before you even walk into the venue, before you even get to your desk, right? So from time I know who I'm about to work with, I need to have prepared a show file that has something in it already. You know, that's what I've learned. And you're gonna ask me what's gone wrong for you later. Yeah, I'm gonna
mhm.
tell you the story of why I do this and why I prepare before I even get to the venue. Um, because dealing with picky musicians, I'm a musician myself, so I understand. But so before they get there, how can there be nothing in their mix? We're in an age right now where we're playing with uh backing tracks, stems are being played live um from playback world, you know, and it might not actually be as much time as you think there is. So basic things like, all right, I know where to gain things at because I know where the signals come. I know how to gauge these things just because I know
Mhm.
where it is. I know what I'm dealing with. I know what the desk is. Um, so you can kind of there's certain things you can kind of just guess. And so when the musicians get there, it's not, I can't hear this. It's, oh, actually, can you turn this up for me, please? It just sounds a bit quiet in my ears, you know? And it's all about gaining their trust. It's a trust thing, this game. If they don't trust you, if you look timid, they're going to pick on you. You're going to get I can't hear this. I can't hear it. It's in their ears. I can't hear it. I can't hear it. It's not loud enough. I can't hear it. Like, nah, man. It's just not. Yeah. And then there's feedback on the stage. Then the artist comes out on stage. What's going on? Production manager, tour managers coming to you. What's happening? What's going on? What's what's Yeah, just my ears just went right. It just felt a bit wrong. It's not the same. I couldn't hear things. How can they not be clicking my ears? Or how can there not be cues in my ears? Why? And then we have a lot of bands that run talkback mics, right?
Hmm.
I can't hear him. And there's a million and one things that are happening. And then the tour manager comes to you and says, "Are you getting the VT lines? Can you hear the VT lines?" But the band is on stage shouting at you, and you can't hear nothing. And then it's just a mess. So you always
That's why I don't want. And that's why I wonder why any normal human being wants to be a monitor engineer.
no, but it's all about planning.
That's what I would do. And that's it. At that point, switch the desk off and now it's stage. That's what I would do.
It's all about planning. And to be honest, I would say I wouldn't just jump in on one of these for something that's crazy that I know I haven't been in production rehearsal for, that I know that I can't actually handle this. And one important part of this job is actually knowing when to say no. Not that they're gonna pay you X
Knowing
amount
when to
and
say no.
no, no, you know, because it's not worth it. It's actually not worth your time, your sanity, and because what we do is physically, we use a lot of our physical energy, and we also use a lot of our mental energy, and it's
Mental. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, it's not worth it. Actually, this is the gig itself needs to be sorted out.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So that will lead to my next questions. What's your approach to developing relationship with the artists you work with?
Well, for example, I'm gonna keep playing the young card, right? I'm young, so when an artist sees me, and it's happened a number of times, it's like he looks a bit young. I'm not gonna, does he is he experienced? So compared to an older guy, it's all about building trust. Your first gig with them, you're only as good as your first gig. So you're only as good as your last gig. Sorry, you're only as good as your last gig. So you need to build confidence with trust and confidence. They need to have confidence in you, and they need to trust you. That when they look to the left of the stage, their engineer is there, and they know that okay, it's fine. I didn't have a sound check today. It's fine. I know it's gonna sound like 2 weeks ago. And you do that by just executing a good show.
Okay. So I also believe that monitor engineers, they have a routine, right? So yeah, because the monitor engineer is the guy that needs more time to do stuff.
You do.
We front of us engineers, the mixing engineers, we're the lazy ones, according to people. But so, what's your general routine once you get to your desk?
My show file. I load my show file first, and I'll make sure that I am seeing my show file reads on the console. Then it's seeing my IO. That's all working. Um, Nowadays we're all dealing with radios, radio microphones, and now this is one of the biggest problems. Um, Radio microphones. The stuff hasn't been prepped, or it might have been prepped, but you're all on channel 38. Channel 38 is the free frequency band. Things are clashing. Um, I think I've had to learn about radio like really fast, really fast. I didn't take any courses about it, but I just learned about things and just how transmission works and reception works, and all your paddles are all close together, too close together, or uh, interference happening with the screen and the radio microphones. So all of these things need to be troubleshooted. Um,
Okay, so
the
when it comes to the big shows, personally, I just I get in an RF tech, finish, case closed. There's a very important question I wanted to ask you. As a young head in an experienced world, tell us about the positives, because we have about 4 minutes really. Tell us about the
uh,
positives and negatives, albeit controversial, without calling anyone out, you've experienced with the older generation.
You,
So people like us,
you know
what
what?
have we done wrong
I
to you to, you know?
per personally, I've you guys, I've been blessed to not experience anything negative. I'm a sponge, so whatever you say, I'm taking it as textbook, right? Like looking at Nat as much as the jokes he's making in the group chat, and Shola, in fact, I just met Shola like the end of last year, I would say. And yourself and Raf and Nakoma and Aaron, you guys have been in the game longer than me, so I'd be a fool not to listen to what you have to say. But then I'd be a bigger fool not to research what you said to me, because what you're saying to me could be complete rubbish.
Fact.
But at the time, I'm gonna take it in, but I'm not gonna question. But I'm not, I'm gonna do my own research and then build my own self, build my own character. I haven't really experienced any negativity at all, to be honest.
Okay, cool. So next question, at least we have another few minutes. As a young person, and I'm trying to be very real here,
Yeah.
this period that we're in, this lockdown, there's some countries who are just starting their lockdown. We've been in lockdown for a while. For people who are living alone, because we're the industry where we meet people, we're always out there. We have fun. You go on tour, you get things
Mhm.
done. You laugh. You're traveling. You sleep. Blah 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 blah. How have you been dealing with your mental health at
Um,
this period?
I'll be
Family, friends. How are you dealing with your mental health?
I'll be totally honest with you. When it first started, I was a bit of a wreck. I'm not gonna lie, I was ill, in fact. So I didn't feel too strong, and a lot was happening. I was seeing a lot on the news, and I felt a bit like two of my tours got cancelled just like that. I was supposed to go Australia, and then when I came back from Australia, I was supposed to do a UK and European run, and then after that, it was the whole of May, the whole of April, and the whole of May, and then June, and festival season, and then from that to actually no, it's not happening. So it was all my days, like um, and partly because I look after the bills in my house. Like it's my priority. I look after the family, my brother, my mother, and just what goes on here. So I'm thinking, damn, uh, I'm gonna be okay, you know. Um, but one thing that's gotten me through this is, I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I'm not telling this to church, by the way,
Mm.
but
Yep,
what's got me through
you
this
can.
was what's got me through this is praying every morning and every evening with my family, um, and honestly, that's really calmed my nerves and just helped me understand that it's actually gonna be okay.
Mm.
It's gonna be okay, and we're gonna get
It's gonna
through
be
this.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
we've got 30 seconds. Femi, thank you so much. If this lockdown doesn't continue, yeah, we'll see on the field somehow. If it does, I'll definitely bring you back another day. Come and have a chat. Guys, if you're going through stuff, if your mental state is, troubling you or anything, seek help, speak to someone. We'll be back immediately afterwards, and I'll be bringing on Maestro. Femi, thank you so much. We'll catch up outside
Thank
there.
you.
Guys, please come back. I'm bringing on Maestro in a bit. See you guys. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
perspectives. And same, hold on 1 second. And it's also for the artists themselves to understand the sound engineers. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. So it's that world. So whereby by the time we all come out of this quarantine or whatever it is, lockdown, self-isolation, whatever name they want to give it from any part of the world, by the time we all come out of it, we want a situation whereby we understand each other better, and are you with me? So I would say, what instruments do you play, by the way? How many instruments do you play?
Well, I play a lot of instruments. I mean, so a lot of people don't know that I used to be in a military band. So
Right.
yeah, before then, I'm sure, like I'm still. So yeah, I I used to play. I play piano. I play the bass guitar. I play the lead guitar. I play talking drum. I play saxophone. So while I joined the military band, I I learned how to play the trumpet, the euphonium, the clarinet, and the snare and the bass drum. So
Wow.
that's
Okay.
kind of at least that's
Okay.
kind
So does that have because you're able to play a series of instruments, does that gives you an advantage as a producer, to be that bridge between maybe sometimes the artist and the production team or the sound engineer? Is the idea of all those instruments, does it give you an advantage?
yeah, of course, it does.
Oh, looks like we lost Maestro. We'll just wait for him to come back. While we're waiting, let's enjoy some music. So I'll try and get Maestro back on. Guys, can you see Hemi? Okay, I'm going to try and get Maestro back on. But if you've got questions for Maestro, just drop them in. Drop them in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Maestro.
My
Okay,
network. So yeah,
yeah.
of course, um, because it's it is a me, like it is. I don't really go through stress, creating music and all that because of my ability to, play a lot of instruments, and I understand that most of this music thing start from church. That's where you learn the basics, the the rudiment and all of that. So it's easy in a way. And I'm not saying music is easy, but in a way it just comes like I can sight play, I can sight read, I can interpret any music without even going to the piano, stuff like that. And I mean, it's nothing when you are into music. I didn't read music. The funny thing, I just learned these things myself. Like I remember back then when I mean my aunt's husband is a pastor. So they just had this instrument at church and all that. So I just go in and just start playing. Nobody to teach me all that. So I learned them. I just pick up the manual of the piano and I see what they write. It was hard. In fact, there was no internet at that time. So I just read and I learned. So over time, I made sure I digest everything. So right now, it is working for me because it's making everything easy. I hear something and it just clicks. So
So it's obvious that almost everybody I've spoken to on this platform started from church. Well, maybe because it's the same. It's the same with me. But so now I would. My next question before I go to ask the church question, which I always try and do, is you've performed for at big venues, at small venues.
yeah, but
What would be your major problem that you have with sound engineers?
let me not lie. Because I've been sounding a little bit, I know
Mm-hmm.
technically, I know. I think you are OG.
We'll talk about
But
Tiwa's performance yesterday. We'll talk about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, but because
Yeah.
I know a little bit technically about these things. sometimes I just have a little patience, but most of the time it is instruction, and it gets me crazy. Whenever I'm performing, sometimes because we don't have enough time. In Nigeria, we have a show tomorrow. We are doing sound check. I mean, some people just use like 1 week to sound check, and even more days to just make sure that sounds are proper. But in Nigeria, the challenges not challenges we are facing right now is on stage as an artist, is instruction, equipment, and all of that. It's crazy. I really wish that a lot of our engineers will understand that you need to go to school for this, or learn this work very well, because at the end of the day, when you listen to, I mean, I've traveled a lot and I've seen people set instruments and I'm like, what's going on? They'll be performing in your front like they're in the studio. You understand?
Hmm.
And a lot of people can't achieve that yet. So I think one of our major challenges is even sometimes I tell people it is not what you used to even produce that is the problem. Because I used Cubase for like 10 years of my production life. 10 years. And a lot of people that are using Logic, Ableton, they do not know that I do not know how to use Logic. So it's not even about the equipment you are using sometimes. It's about how much you can handle, you know, the equipment or the software or the plugin or anything.
Okay, so you mentioned something about the equipment, um, especially when it comes to. I have the opportunity to do one or two shows in Nigeria,
Yeah.
and I remember there was a particular one I did last year,
Yeah.
and um, I think the only thing that wasn't Chinese in the whole setup was the mixer.
Yeah, I remember.
So,
Is it the Abuja one?
yeah, the Abuja one. The the only thing that wasn't Chinese was the mixer. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, that impacts the delivery, irrespective of how good you are. If
Yeah.
the equipment before you is not the standard,
Hmm.
you it's not the standard you're used to. Um, you can learn how to drive in a Western world and become the best driver, but you might get to India and you struggle.
Hmm.
You might struggle in the sense that if the standard of equipment is not good, when you are learning how to drive, you are learning on a very smooth road, and you get to
Hmm.
somewhere where there's potholes and there's traffic everywhere, you struggle. But the problem here for me now, or the question would be, is when would the artist be able to stand their grounds to venues, to promoters, and say, if you, because I don't know if you watched the beginning of the show where I talked about technical writers. So if I send you a technical writer, you should be able to
Bro, sorry,
supply what
sorry.
I've requested for.
There's a lot of feedback. I'm hearing feedback from I don't know your side or my side. I don't,
It might be your side. I don't think I can.
like
Yeah,
over.
is that better
Like
now?
I can see you. I can see you talking right now. You're not talking. That's what I'm saying. So
Is
it's
somebody else
completely
watching it around you? Is somebody else watching the?
no, no, no. Nobody's there. But stop now. I think it's stopped.
Okay, so but in essence, what I'm saying is, if you find out that when would artists be able to wake up and say one morning that if you don't supply the equipment I've requested, I'm not performing? Do you think that would ever happen? Do you think that would happen one day?
Uh, yeah.
You're not sure it would.
Um. I know we'll get there. I know we'll get there. There's one person that I really respect so much is Tiwa Savage, and I'll say why. Not because we have a working relationship, but because of you know, a standard, you know, right from time. She will always make sure. A lot of our artists here do not care about it. They're like, okay, it's not I'm more rough and you know sometimes it's not nice because you know these people, for example, why I would reference to America or London people, apart from even the momentum at that moment, they want to sell the record, the live, you know, performance and all that, and you can't. You find out that you can't achieve it here. It's not just about that moment. It's about you know who watches it next. If it's on ETV, it's on TV and all that. But we can't do that right now because the sound is not even nice. So I know that we'll get there. It's a gradual process. But myself, that's why I don't perform live sometimes because it won't be nice. I'd rather go with my CD. So people don't know that okay, artists don't want to perform. Some artists don't want to perform live because the equipment might not be good. So they just say, okay, you know what? I don't want to keep my vibe. Just give me my track and let me perform. You get me? So I know gradually we'll get there, but I think that the artist should always make sure, apart from sending the riders, those all are clear. Make sure that if there is an engine, there's a management for checking the equipment, let them go there and see these things themselves. It's very important. No matter how small it is, no matter how small the show or the event is, that's not what matters. If I when I go to show, I don't even look at the venue and I mean, fans are important to me. That's the first reason I am there in the first place, not even the equipment. But equipment is very important. Equipment is very important. If the manager can go forth and say, yo, you know what? 2 days before the show, can we see these things? What is the or send an email? What is the value of what you are setting up? What is the value of your mixer? What is the value of your piano? I remember that show. We have to be looking for a sustain pedal. The pianos of keys were not working. The, it was crazy, man. Like so I feel like yeah, that if before time, a day or 2 days, let them send an email and say, or before then say, this is the one we are using. Because in Nigeria, I know they don't I don't know if they do it in anywhere else. But in Nigeria, if they can send it upfront, okay, you know what, as an artist, I don't want this, I want this, I want my mind to be this, I want my have a standard. If we start creating that standard now, I mean, it's just few of us in this country that as an artist that really, you know, sit down that create that standard like Chiwa. If the equipment is not good, she's not performing. My band has played for her several times and she be like, oh, you know what? I can't do this. They have to sit down, work on it, you know. And my band, they would have been there like since morning and they are sound checking and all of that. But immediately she comes and she doesn't like it. She's not doing it until they set it up. If we can create that standard, I'm sure everybody will work according to it.
Okay, so I'm guessing I have some I can see from the list. I know some guys who are based in Nigeria, some sound engineers who are based in Nigeria, and so if you are listening, please improve your standards. Let's create a better
Please.
standard. Let's make things better.
And please
Let's
don't get me wrong. Oh. I'm not saying that we don't have amazing people, engineers in this country. I'm just saying that you know most of our people they call something in Yoruba Iroju. They just let us let us let us do it. You know, it is sometimes not nice as for the production of the whole event and for the artist. The look of it sometimes it's not nice. It just mess up me. If I go and perform anywhere and the equipment is not, and I have to perform, I just perform and I don't feel like I've done anything that day. You just for my whole day, you know. So
so sound engineers. If you're here, if you're listening, it's you really need to understand that the what we do is just more than turning up knobs or increasing volumes and stuff and all that. I know some people are
volume,
sending me some
distortion, yeah.
messages. Yeah. And some people are sending me messages on how can I work with Mystro? How can I do this? How can I do that? Just in one sentence or in two sentences, what would be your advice to any upcoming musician, either be home and abroad, trying to do their own thing? What would you advise them?
So thank God it is right. Never. Let me close the window. Yeah, so listen, music, the Nigerian music industry is not as rosy as it looks. So, what I need you to understand is keep grinding, be consistent. That's the key word. Be consistent because no matter how much you try, how much talent you have, trust me, one way or the other, you feel depressed and feel like you're not doing enough. But people are watching you. You're not just, I mean, everything it works according to time. But people are watching you, watching what you do. Just make sure that you're consistent in everything that you do. And trust me, person, see, there was a time that this small doctor music, slim case, all this music used to be heard just on the mainland. It was just on the mainland. In fact, to be specific, it used to be just Alaba. But right now, it's mainstream. Like, you go to club, Quillox, people are playing, what's about penalty, what's throwing, that's how much consistency they have, acquired in a long time, and they are here, they are doing it. They are going to shows alongside Whiskey, Tiwa Savage, Burna Boy, So be consistent and everything will work out.
Guys, in everything you do, be consistent. Maestro, we want to say a big thank you for turning up, for coming. Very
I'm so
soon
sorry,
after
I didn't have
the
life before. I didn't have life before. It's all right, and I
after
died.
Corona, someone was asking why is Shagun sweating? It's because of
Yes,
NEPA,
so
or
there
is
was no
it
life. It just got like
PH?
that.
Yeah, it's PHCN. Yeah. All right. So wherever you do, be consistent. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep keep hustling. Let's improve our standards across board. Let's be better. Right. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Maestro.
boss. Yes, boss.
Maestro will leave.
I'm
I'll
so
still
honored
be
to
here for
be here,
about two,
boss.
3 minutes to round things up. Thanks so much, Maestro. Yeah. God bless you. Thanks for coming on.
All right, boss. Yes, boss.
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll tell you who my guests are. Those of you who are still online, I'll tell you who my guests are on Friday. Friday, we're gonna be focusing on gospel music. I know a lot of people want to hear that. We're gonna be focusing on gospel music on Friday. So I've got my Matt Sales, who is the one of the project managers for SFL, the company that runs FOL, the biggest gospel show or gospel events in London. And I've also got Ayobami Shueton on Friday. He's also the music director for FOL. So if you have got your questions, church questions and stuff, send them in before Friday. I would love to send them to the guests way before the coming. So if you've got questions like SFL are one of the biggest installation companies in the UK. So when it comes to you have questions about installing in your church, how you can improve your church music. Matt Sales is your guy. Yeah. So if you have questions for him, send them in. And obviously, if you have questions about your choir, how you can improve your choir with the sound and everything, Ayobami is your guy too. So we'll be here on Friday by God's grace at 7 o'clock. Share, tell people about this sound mind. Most importantly, before you go, please, 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 please look after your mental state. If you stay alone, call someone, you know, keep in communication. Don't just sit down at home and, just look after your mental state. So I'll see you on Friday by God's grace. Temidayo signing out.
Bad man just they live life on his own. Bad man just they roll as they go. Bad man no get beef with anybody. Bad man they doing thing on their own. Bad man they really try go. Bad man a cobra man a python. Write one song, record all night long. After it's done, he still they write songs. So waiting come with this one. Would they follow you to competition? My followers no be 1 million, but my fan base always strong. It gone. This life not turn by turn. See as all of us they blow one by one. So bad man no get beef with anybody. Bad man no get time gone. Bad man just wants to sing. Bad man just wanna sing to the crowd. Bad man wanna make mama proud. Bad man never get beef with anybody. Bad man they do anything on the low. Bad man winning got nothing to lose. Call me the god, now you be my love. I want to blow up like a balloon, so but you want cause this will a balloon. So I think I'll be this one. Who they follow you to competition? My followers don't be 1 million. My fan base is trying to give me gun. It's like not on my tongue. All of my